Hello there, it is the 15th day of November 2020, the 319th day of the year. Hope you had yourselves a fruitful week. Now straight to the headlines. Local authorities, local communities around the Volcanoes National Park say the country's policy of making sure that they too benefit from the revenue generated from the parks has helped them to develop, and that they in return continue to play their role in protecting the park 15 years after the policy was first introduced. The Rwanda National Police has detained more than 130 people while drinking and dancing at Laguna Motel in Nyarugenge district, suspected of violating COVID-19 preventive guidelines. Now, farmers in Nyamagabe district are praising cooperatives for helping them to grow their activities. And onto the international scene, 15 countries, including China and Japan, are now part of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. The bloc will cover nearly a third of the world's population and economic activities at large. A very good evening to you all and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa. Starting off onto the local scene, local communities around the Volcanoes National Park have said that the country's policy of making sure that they too benefit from the revenue generated from the parks has helped them develop, and that they too in return helped the country protect the national parks 15 years after this policy was first introduced. Serge Ntore kickstarts tonight's bulletin with this report.
The policy was first introduced in 2005, and up to 66 cooperatives in 4 districts around the park have been benefiting. In our cooperative, the first time around they gave us 3 million Rwandan francs. The second time we got cows, and again on the third time. We have come a long way because no cooperative member is unable to afford an education for their child or has trouble affording health insurance. If anything, some cooperatives have started helping the community by paying for non-members. When the revenue sharing program first began, local communities got 5% of what was generated, and by 2017 it had become 10%. Up to 2.7 billion Rwandan francs has so far been distributed among the 12 sectors around the Volcanoes National Park. 7% of that money went towards building a stone wall around the park. 31% went directly to cooperatives, while 62% was used for infrastructure development, building things like schools, health centers, clean water distribution, and more. Soon, local associations and other organizations were emulating what the government was doing, such as Sakola, which brings together 65 local residents living in the sectors of Kinigi and Nyanje that work in the tourism sector. Since 2007, it has provided up to 1.2 billion Rwandan francs towards the development of local communities. Park officials say the revenue sharing program has greatly encouraged local residents to protect the park.
Tourism revenue sharing.
Tourism revenue sharing in the Volcanoes National Park has helped us to come closer to the local communities because its primary purpose is to get the local residents to play a greater role in protecting the park itself. Tourism has also helped boost other sectors in the northern province, like the hospitality sector. All that has helped local communities around the park make more revenue and help them develop, and now we are pushing for long-term development through projects that have been helping with the basic needs of people in things like agriculture and animal husbandry. Now we want them to produce enough to supply hotels, and that would result in long-term cooperation between them. The COVID-19 pandemic has, however, put a dent in the tourism revenue sharing program, with more than 402 million Rwandan francs that was supposed to be distributed in the districts of Musanze and Burera during the 2019-2020 fiscal year pending.
Now, gender equality experts have been asking that people avoid anything that may present itself in the name of a struggle between men and women, and that the Western world have been blamed of bringing up such ideologies. Serge Ntore continues.
Women like Marie-Ange Ingabire and Yvonne Wumuremyi are just some of the females in Rwanda that have taken full advantage of the country's gender equality policies, branching out into construction and becoming success stories. Government officials point out that gender equality is meant to ensure a brighter future for the country. The changes are visible, and I believe that you as journalists see them. Even on the streets, you sometimes see men helping women to carry children, or even their handbags at times. In some homes, some husbands cook. I believe things are changing, and it requires that we continue our efforts to make this happen. We cannot be discouraged now with all the results that we have been seeing, though we must not become complacent and instead increase our efforts many times over to get the results we want. Gender equality experts have been asking that people avoid anything that may try to present gender equality as a struggle between men and women, and some who call themselves activists from the Western world are being blamed for pushing such dangerous ideologies, with demeaning hashtags towards men on Twitter recently seen a lot. We are denouncing such people because it is not right to put all men in one basket. We have different men. Some are upright and do not abuse women, while some do. You cannot therefore judge everybody the same, and even those who are abusive can be changed with time if they are dealt with properly. Calling all men trash is just setting yourself up for failure. Women too have been denouncing such approaches. It's contradictory. That is not gender equality. People who call others trash had no proper upbringing and have no values. Gender equality implies giving both men and women equal rights and respect. When you do that, all are capable of achieving great things. That is what gender equality means: equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. Experts are therefore warning against people in Rwanda blindly adopting Western notions without first thoroughly examining them. Some countries and organizations export the idea of gender equality through things like development aid, which is not always positive. Because when you look at WID, WAD, and GAD, they seem to imply that women don't need men to develop. They start saying that some projects are just for women, but our policies are that both men and women work together for development. If men are accused of putting in place systems that give them opportunities at the expense of others, then they have an important role in correcting that wrong. Rwanda's constitution is drawn up in such a way as to promote gender equality in all sectors of the country, holding back no one, be it men or women.
Thank you very much, Serge Nori. Now, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, many Rusizi residents say their weekend is boring compared to the way it was before COVID-19. Now, as Martina Abera reports, the residents say that what they're doing now is to step up their efforts to prevent the spread of COVID-19 even more in order to return to normal lives and to ensure that their weekends are back to normal.
Rusizi's weekends used to be very thrilling, with the influx of Rwandans and Congolese, those who came to enjoy the Kivu water, and some would come from Kigali and other various places just to enjoy themselves. That vibe is no longer there. They say weekends in Rusizi are no longer interesting. The weekends are very boring these days. Yes, we can't say that it is 100% the case, but for the most part, it is. At the lake, it is very clear. Where Muslims used to rest, that is how it is. You can only find security guards who you can tell are extremely bored. This place used to be the best place to be. It was all ruined due to the pandemic. No one steps here anymore, except me who cleans up the area. Some of the small animals that are left nowadays wait when there is no one, then they go and play around in the areas where they used to normally be slaughtered. We once found a goat and its kid in a waterfront building where many people used to sit. For some of those who used to go out for enjoyment, the only thing allowed to do now is to attend weddings, and in a way that they say is very uncomfortable. There is a specific number now. Only 75 people are allowed to attend. It is very boring. On the streets, you would find girls and boys holding hands. Now, there are very few that do that. Due to the low number of people who come to Rusizi, even hotels that are allowed to open spend all day waiting for customers, and the day ends when there is no one. These town people now spend their weekends at home. All we do is harvest greens and eggplants. We don't go anywhere anymore. Due to the preventive measures that were put in place by the government and to abide by them as well, we stay home and we only move when it is necessary to do so. The fact that the weekends are now boring gives them the motivation to keep doing what it takes for them to go back to their normal lives and their weekends to return to its normal stature. There is nothing else to do but to abide by the set measures, because if we don't, we risk going back to total lockdown, like the minister said. Wearing of masks is very important, knowing that even though it is a weekend, one can't go out to a bar or to hotels to party. We need to be cautious in order to reduce the spread of the virus, and the normal activities can resume. Rusizi is the part of the country that has spent the longest time in lockdown, going up to 6 months. The lake, the borders, the hotels, the various gardens are some of the things that kept people busy on the weekends, all of which haven't started functioning to its full capacity. Nevertheless, residents are advised that prevention comes before enjoyment. Martina Abera, RTV News.
Thank you very much, Martina Avera. The Rwanda National Police has detained more than 130 people while drinking and dancing at Laguna Hotel in Nyarugenge district, an area commonly known as Muchiovu Chabakene. They are suspected of violating COVID-19 preventive guidelines. The detainees were fined to 25,000 Rwandan francs each, and Laguna Motel has been closed as this was a repeated offense.
Detainees are mostly young men and young women who the police found drinking alcohol, while others were in Laguna Motel's nightclub. By the time the police came, some rushed into rooms, breaking some equipment. The detainees were taken to Kigali Stadium in Nyamirambo at midnight, while others who were hiding in the rooms were also discovered this Sunday morning and fined to 25,000 Rwandan francs per person. The building also houses a night clinic. In front of it was empty bottles of beer. It is owned by Dr. Musangwaja, who claims to have rented it to another entrepreneur, but when the police questioned him about the written contract, he did not show any. It's mine. I rent it, including the motel. The clinic is mine. I rent that shop near the street as well. If people can drink and get it to the corridor as it is here, I don't know, because whenever I get to work, everything is fine. The Rwanda National Police spokesperson, CP John Bosco Kabera, says the presence of some hotel and bar owners who do not comply with the COVID-19 prevention guidelines is dangerous. People should be patient and not lose, because such activities that unites many people can cause serious problems to Rwandans. We found 50 people in one room. Even the motel do not register people that go there, yet normally a person to be given a room must be registered. They hide into one thing and do many other things which are not allowed. The executive administrator of Nyarugenge district, Emi Ngabonziza, says that this is the second time the Laguna Motel has been involved in such activities. They were arrested and punished according to instructions of the city of Kigali. As confirmed by the council, they were warned, and now 3 weeks later, we found them doing the same thing, including establishing a nightclub. There was a very large number of people, like more than 100 people. Today, we have made various decisions, including closing it completely, and it is not even a good place because, as you can see, it is not just a violation of the rules, but it is also dirty. In the building where Laguna Motel operates, there are other business activities. The city of Kigali had asked the owner to renovate it according to Kigali City Master Plan, and the process of renovating it had started.
Now, Nyamagabe farmers, part of the cooperatives, say forming cooperatives has helped them develop because before they formed them, they were making very little progress. Nyamagabe's steep hills mean farming is not always easy, but farmers nevertheless grow things like potatoes, wheat, maize, tea, and even real small livestock. The farmers say cooperatives have made them stronger, able to get produce in volumes that would have been impossible for them as individuals and supply markets. Some cooperatives in the district have, however, been struggling due to mismanagement resulting in members losing money. District authorities say that such matters are being addressed and emphasize that the advantages of forming cooperatives cannot be ignored even though difficulties may arise, giving examples such as the fact that potato productivity in Nyamagabe has jumped from 3 tons per hectare to 20 tons now. This is also much easier to assist cooperatives with the necessary equipment they need as opposed to individual farmers. Officials at the Rwanda Cooperatives Agency have also announced trainings aimed at eliminating the problem of mismanagement among the cooperatives. Nyamagabe has 185 agricultural cooperatives with 2 of the largest growing tea and comprised of more than 400,000 members as of now.